Hello and welcome to Thought for the Day from St Mary's, Bexhill. If I say Mother's Union, what do you think? To be honest, you might think of a room of old ladies drinking cups of tea. In fact, the name is a slight misnomer, as you don't have to be a mother to belong. In fact, here is my membership badge. In this country, the Mothers' Union may well tend to be based largely around the teapot, but the Mothers' Union supports women doing amazing things all over the world. When I went to Uganda a few years ago, we visited a project run by the Mothers' Union where teenage girls were taken in and taught a trade. Most of them were either orphans or had been turned out of their homes by their families onto the street. For all of them, there was little alternative except a life on the street, until the Mothers' Union taught them how to look after themselves and how to sew, cut hair, or make beadwork. They lived together in a community for a few years until they were able to live independently. You might know that the Mothers' Union was started by Mary Sumner back in the 1870s. She recognised the need for support to help women in raising their children, but was so nervous at the first meeting of the parish women that she refused to speak and asked her husband George, the vicar, to take her place. Now, in those days, it was very unusual for a woman to be a public speaker. However, George encouraged her, telling her to just share your heart. God will do the rest, he said. And she did. It went so well that she found the courage to speak at future meetings. Her talks were inspired by her Christian faith. It was practical and down to earth. She would say, "Remember, ladies, to be yourselves what you would have your children be." After groups with women became well established, she was asked to speak to the men of the parish. Again, she was apprehensive but agreed and helped them to be more aware of what their wives did for them, to show more respect and love. The meetings grew and included women old and young, rich and poor, and others heard about her work and started groups in their own areas. In 1885, when it was still unheard of for women to speak to large audiences, Mary Sumner was invited by her bishop to speak to a packed church congress session for women in Portsmouth. He felt he had no authority himself to speak to a group of women whose prime concern was to get enough food on their tables so their children would not starve. And she overcame her nerves again and said, "Together, by the grace of God, we can calm each other when we are afraid, strengthen one another when we are weak, and work together to raise our children to the glory of God. Unity is strength." The movement grew further, increasing with the support of bishops internationally as well as in England. And from 1900 onwards, she and the members started to speak up on issues of key importance to families and children. For instance, she campaigned to stop children collecting alcohol from public houses for their families, and for the age of marriage for girls to be raised from 12 to 16. She was not afraid to speak up on difficult issues, despite resistance from members of the establishment. She was also not afraid to act outside the social norms, to do what she believed to be right. At a time when unmarried girls with children were condemned and cast out, she cared for and protected her niece with her illegitimate son. Today, the MU has members in 83 countries, putting their faith into action to nurture healthy relationships in families and communities and to fight for social justice, like the project I visited in Uganda. Be yourselves what you would have your children be, and unity is strength. Two very good mottos. One of the first things I learned when I became a vicar was very simple. never underestimate the power of little old ladies. Never. So next time you see a group of ladies going to a meeting, don't laugh or be condescending. Watch out. They change the world. Amen.